it's Rachel here from Rachel and Bella Crafts. Thanks for joining me again today for another video in our series on making the botanical journal for our giveaway. Today I'm going to be going through with you how I make my fabric pockets to go into the junk journal. So if you remember, we put our signature together a few videos back. What I've done this morning, I've just very quickly had a flick through, try to get an idea of maybe where I'm going to want to put this pocket, and then I've taken just a piece of paper and made myself a template. Once it's together, you're not going to want to cut it down basically, so I just figured it's a lot easier to make the template first, and then I know whatever I make is going to fit anywhere inside the journal. So I've gone for one of the most inside pages because obviously they're the shorter pages, and I know that that is going to fit there quite comfortably. So you can see that that's the size it's going to be. I'm looking for it to fill a page, and in that then I will have a nice fabric pocket to decorate our journal with and put our ephemera in. Okay, so let's have a quick look now. Again, I've had a look at the colours on here. I'm going for a linen pocket, so I'm not overly concerned about it matching with anything with the pages or anything, because it obviously is white. If you're not going to use linen, if you're just going to use any cotton fabric, I mean, I do have other scraps here that I could have chosen from. These are all from our fabric kits that I was making last week, and these are just all my ends that I've kept. So, you know, I may make another pocket with some of these, but today I want to do the linen one. I want to show you how to do this. So, like I say, I'm not too worried about that. I know whatever I'm making is going to match, so I don't need to keep that out. Now we can put that to one side. The first thing that we're going to do is select a piece of card. Now I'm trying to get through my huge stockpile of cardstock, because I think, like everybody else, when you first get into junk journaling, the first thing that we do is we rush out and try to buy every cardstock pack that there is available in our local shops, just because we think we're going to use loads of it, and then we discover things like digis and books and magazines, and then realise that actually we don't use that much cardstock. I personally don't anyway. I know some people do, but I've gone into other things at the moment. I have seen there's some really good series on YouTube at the moment. A couple of the girls have done on useful things you can do with 12 by 12 cardstock. So I am going to have a little look at those soon and try and reduce my load a bit more. But for this today, this is ideal. When you are selecting your cardstock, bear in mind what linen you're going to use or what material you're going to use to cover it, because obviously you don't want it showing through, or if it does show through, it needs to kind of be in keeping with your theme. So I did have a piece earlier on that had bright orange flowers on it, because I thought I'm never going to use that, but obviously once I put the linen on top, it was no good because you could see it straight through. So I've gone for something more neutral, but something like that would do equally as well, because even though you can see through it, it is kind of in keeping with the theme. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my template. I'm going to very quickly just mark on the card. I do apologise, I don't measure anything. I know a couple of us do, and I know some of us don't. I'm one of the ones that doesn't. I don't measure anything. I just do everything by eye. And usually, as I say, I've measured with my journal, so I'm happy it fits, and that's fine. If you did want to know the size of the pocket I'm making today, it is 10 by 17.5. Gosh, there's a random size for you. Evidently not measured, you see, but yeah, I can't work to measurements, because I find that once one thing is out, it's all out then, and then that just throws me. So I like to just work by eye. Right, so I've marked out the area on there. I am going to try and make 2 today, so I'm going to just cut 2 ready, so that we can see, so that we've got them there, and that bit is done then. Okay, so I've got my templates now. The next thing that we're going to do is measure our linen, and or your material, obviously whatever it is you've chosen to work with today. So I'm hoping that that offshoot piece there is going to fit on there. Now, please don't think this is a project that you can only do if you have a sewing machine, because that's not the case at all. You can do this if you just have your fabric tack to work with, or you know, any good fabric glue. Basically by just attaching your fabric to your card. What I would suggest to you though is, bear in mind this is going to be stuck into the journal, so whatever happens on the back doesn't matter. So if you are going to stick the fabric to the card, I would leave just a bit of edge either side so that you can tuck it over and then securely glue little tabs the other side, and that'll just keep it then nice and secure. You're not worrying then about it lifting at all. But as I'm not doing that, I am going to stitch mine on. I'm going to just leave a frayed edge around the end of my card. So the first thing I'm going to do is glue the card in the center just to secure the linen onto my piece of card. You might want to just fray your edges a bit if they're not frayed, just because we want to give it a bit of a rusticy feel. Obviously we're putting this into a botanical journal, and it's kind of vintagey, so we don't want anything looking too new in there. If you're going to stitch it, don't worry about it being the glue being very adhesive. Your standard Pretty Sticky Oohoo will be fine, because your sewing machine's going to do the rest. And just be careful to keep the glue just inside the area where you're going to stitch, so you don't get glue all over your sewing machine needle. Right, before I go over to the sewing machine, I'm just going to do the next step as well, so that I can sew them all at the same time. So the next thing that I'm going to do then is make a pocket to go onto the front. So with a bit of well, anything, scrap paper, I'm just going to use this bit of coffee dye paper that was left over yesterday. You just want to be looking really at how deep you want your pocket. So I'm going to aim for about there, so we'll have quite a deep pocket. It's about half the size of the actual card, and I'm just going to cut that then to size. There we go. So that's what your pockets are going to be like, and we're just going to do the same with those. We're going to put some linen over the top of these. Now this linen, this is your decorative layer, so you can do this in several different ways, obviously depending on what you've got for your supplies. So I'm just going to move those over there a second. So for this one, I'm going to use, I've got this square here, I don't know if you can see, with the lovely little embroidery in the corners. I would quite like to get 4 cuts out of that, because I wouldn't want to cut a larger piece and then lose one of those corners. So obviously if I want to use that on this pocket, that's not going to be big enough to cover it by itself, in which case I will put just some plain linen behind it and then seat that on top of it then as an extra to decorate. Another thing that you can do, if you do have any cut out appliques or pieces of embroidery like these here, you can cover the pocket with fabric or linen and then hand stitch that around with a little bit of slow stitching. Or if not, you could just glue that on. So if you're not comfortable with stitching, you could just glue that on with some fabric glue, and that would look quite nice, because obviously it'll be sitting over the top of linen. So that's the sort of effect we're going for there. Another example is something you can use. This is some, I don't know if you can see the sparkles on that there. There's some nice embroidery I bought from one of the ladies in our Facebook group, and you could just lay that straight over the top as well. Again, like I said, I'm not too worried about the green coming through because it's a botanical journal, and then obviously that would be your decorative pocket. So I think I'm going to do one like this, and I'm going to do one then using the applique, just to show you. the different ways that we can do this. So again, I'm just going to grab my square linen, sit quite nicely on top of that. If you feel that you want to use something a little firmer, you can always use a bit of card behind there. But again, we're not going for weight. We've got to remember this is a pocket in the journal, so we are trying to keep things as flat as possible, because I'm conscious here that obviously already now I've got 4 layers here and I haven't put anything on the front yet and I haven't put anything inside. So that's why I'm going with coffee paper. Although I know it can be a little bit flimsy, once it's stitched in place on the pocket, it'll be absolutely fine. So that's how it's looking so far. So you can see you've got your linen layer there, and then you've got your pocket that will sit on top there. Then on top of that, then I'm going to now cut. Now, because I'm adding this on top, what you could do is make a further pocket out of this. So rather than, obviously I'm going to stitch now with the machine around the edges here, and I'll stitch the top of this before I fix it to the card. But obviously we've got this lovely little design here. What you could then do is again glue this onto another piece of paper, just to give it a little bit of stability and to help make it be more usable as a pocket. And then you could just glue that then onto the front, or you could stitch that onto this pocket before you stitch this pocket onto this pocket. I hope you're following, and I'm not making that sound too complex, but I think everything that you're doing with the sewing machine, once you've been through the sewing machine, it's pretty final. Nobody wants to sit there and pick in stitches, do they? So just try and think a couple of steps ahead and think, right, you know, do I want that on there like that? Or if you want to hand stitch it on, you know, it's going to be a lot easier if that pocket's not attached to the back of the main pocket. I'm going to put that on a bit of paper, I think, because I quite like the idea of that being on there. So let me just see what I've got here. Do I have another piece? That's not quite big enough. Obviously you can use anything. You can back it onto, there we go. I've already got a piece of Edith holding that's been massacred. That might be quite nice to have that under there. And then obviously you'll have a little bit of the words poking through, but that's fine because it's Edith Holden and we like that. So I'm going to just cut that to shape, and then I'll stick that on there. And I may just put a little running stitch around the edge of that as well, just to give it a little bit of colour. I'm going to use a green cotton to edge this, because I just think it'll just offset it all quite nicely. Okay, so that's that one done for now. I'll take that over to the machine and finish in a second. I'm just going to do this one now very quickly. So I'm just going to nip to the sewing machine, do a little stitch, and then I'll come back and show you what I'm going to do next. Okay then, so I have now finished stitching with the sewing machine. As you can see, I've used a nice decorative stitch around the outside, and I hope you agree with me that that looks quite effective. As I said, I did the top first before I stitched the pocket on, and then placed the pocket on, and then literally just did a stitch all the way around the outside. The only thing I will say, you've got to be careful with linen when you're stitching, because it does tend to stretch. So try to make sure you're pulling out as you're sewing along. And then this one, I put a pocket in here, and then the pocket in here. Again, I did the top of the two, well, I did the top of this one first, and then I stitched all around the edge there, and then on this one, I hope you can see that there, I've only just literally put a running stitch in there, because I didn't want to, this is quite a thick stitch, I didn't want to go over this lovely little detail here. But I think that looks quite nice and quite in keeping with our journal theme. So what I'm just going to show you now is how to make a just a little decorative dangle out of some quilting. Obviously I picked this piece of quilt. I think I showed you this yesterday because I think it goes with the theme. Here is my botanical tray, again all ready for the occasion, and here are two I've made earlier. So I'm going to have a bit of a Blue Peter moment here now. So the one is slightly longer. I've done that one slightly longer because obviously I don't have a pocket on here. And this one then is going to be slightly shorter because we're going to hang that on there. This is so easy to do, but I think it's quite effective. And I think it just sets it off nicely. So you can either hang it from that corner, or you can hang it like that, or you could even dangle it down there, or you can even have it hanging up there. It's entirely up to you. All we're going to do is take your crocodile. We're going to make a hole in each one. We are going to pop in, I call them rivets. I'm not quite sure what you call them. Maybe they are called rivets, I don't know, but I'm calling it a rivet. So if you have a little look at my tray, I'm hoping you can see there, I've got a selection there of charms that I've grabbed out of my box. So they're all kind of botanical themed charms. I've got some different coloured bulb pins and some different coloured rivets because I couldn't quite make my mind up. But I don't really think it matters. But I've only got silver botanical charms. So I was all ready to say, oh, I got no silver bulb pins. And then I did find two. So I don't know where they've come from. But I don't actually like the silver bulb pin on the white. So I think I may go with rustic, or I may go with gold. Actually, the gold goes quite nice with the green. And even though our charm then will be silver, I don't think that matters. In which case I may use a gold rivet. And that's just way too many decisions to have had to make there. But right, let's just go for it. I'm not going to worry about it too much. It's a junk journal at the end of the day. There are no wrongs with a junk journal, are there? Okay, so let's have a little look here. Which corner do I want hanging down? I think I'm going to have a bit of the green coming down. So I'm going to take my crocodile. I'm going to use the larger hole. And I'm going to go in to about, can you see where I've gone there? So I'm literally just comfortable enough away in that it's not going to fray and pull away, because obviously we don't want it coming off. But I'm about 1 centimetre, I think I would say, there in. So I'm literally just going to punch that out. There we go. So we've got a nice hole there. If it doesn't come cleanly away, obviously just grab your scissors and cut away any excess fabric, because it's not quite the same as cutting paper with them, is it? And then pop my rivets in. And then we're going to clamp him down. Just hope this works now. Okay. There we go. So that's that one done. And then let's just do this one. Now I quite like these little pinky floral bits on this, so I'm going to clamp this one at the top here, I think. And I'm going to put it that side. Where's my big side again? So let's have a little look. Again, just making sure I'm about 1 centimetre, actually maybe half centimetre. No, I'm about 1 centimetre into the square of fabric. That hasn't quite cut clean, so I'm just going to cut the edge off that. And again, put another gold rivet in. Obviously just making sure which side you want. You might want to use the other side, so again, just make sure which side you want on display before you put your rivet in. And then clamp him down. There we go. Make sure there's nothing sharp. No, we're good. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to go with the gold pins. And then I'm going to have a silver charm. Right, decisions. This is always the hardest bit, isn't it? Do I want a nice little flower? Well, gosh, I'll probably change these again later. But that one there's quite nice with the leaf. Oh yeah, there's a leaf on the thing. Right, we'll put the leaf on there. That's quite nice. Oh, I've always got to try and remember to do this now, which way around it is, because I don't really want that hanging out. Not that it really matters, but no, I'm not going to fuss with it. Let's just make sure. Right, so the first thing is obviously make sure you put your charm on first, because you want your charm to stick out the front. There we go. And then hook your, so obviously you've got one sitting on top of the other like that. And then I'm literally just going to preferably try and find a hole from the machine, and then just poke that through there and then do it up. And there we go. Now you've got a pocket with a lovely little patchwork decorative dangly. And if we do the same over here, and I think so, I found a little watering can one, so I thought that's quite nice. So pop that on there. Obviously the nice thing about this is nothing's permanent, so you know, if you're making journals to sell or to give away or what have you, if they don't like what's on there, they can always change it then, can't they? But I think it's just a nice little just brightens that up a bit. Okay, so let's get our box of bits and pieces from our kit, which is now turned into a box for me to plonk everything in, just so we've got a bit of an idea now. So these are the tags from the kit. So when they're, obviously I haven't inked them yet and put the tabs on, but just for you to see, once you start putting your colourful elements in, they will brighten up quite nicely. Oh, let's put one of our tags that we made, sorry stretching, that we made yesterday. So that's one of the collage ones we did. I didn't add anything onto that one because I thought it looked quite nice like that. So pop that in behind there. That goes in there quite nicely. And then this one, I finished that off yesterday. I just put a little stitch around that fabric and stuck it on. And then I used one of the cards in from Natalie's kit. So again, you can just pop that in there like that. Now, these pockets are quite, they will take quite a bit, which is good. So if you've got vintage documents, because I may put a few of those in here, you know, you've got plenty of scope there for putting something quite thickly folded in. And then obviously in the front then, we can add one of Natalie's smaller tags. And perhaps one of these little cards. But yeah, they make a really nice stuffed pocket. I think it's probably the best way to put it. So there we go. That today is our fabric pockets done. And they're ready to go in our journal, which I'll just quickly grab. And you can see then, it doesn't matter what page they go on because, well, obviously I've done them in white, but they're going to match anything. And that's a whole page then decorated. When you attach it to the page, you've also then got options because you can just stick it at the top and the bottom and use it as, you know, so that you can put stuff in. You can have something there then with a tab. Actually, I might do that, put a tab on another card, and then that can go in behind there as well. So, but again, it's all keeping it nice and flat. It's not adding too much bulk to the journal. And obviously the only bit of bulk there is where we put our bulb pin on. And that's entirely up to you. I just quite like that look on there. So there we go. Thanks for watching today. I hope you're all well. Take care. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you haven't yet subscribed, subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again. Bye now.